It is officially fight week, and it still blows my mind that Nate Diaz will be facing Khamzat Chimaev this Saturday at UFC 279, a fight that caught everyone's attention ever since it was leaked all the way in May on the Pivot podcast. Now, we're so close, and we might sadly have to say this is the last time fans get to experience a proper Nate Diaz fight week. I think when it comes to the fans and media, the narrative of this fight has been they want to push Khamzat's star power, and who better to do it against than one of the biggest names and stars of the sport who was on the last fight of his contract. And I think Chimaev himself recognizes that, but huge respect to Diaz. Fighting Leon and Khamzat in a row is pretty impressive. Those are two guys that are pretty avoided in the division, but he was not afraid to take them on. But let's go ahead and look at this Saturday's underdog, fan favorite Nate Diaz. Looking at his last 3 fights, a loss over now welterweight champion Leon Edwards. Of course, it was that now famous moment where he had Leon rocked with just a minute left to go in the fight. A controversial loss due to doctor stoppage against Jorge Masvidal. Many think the fight would have looked a lot differently if it went another 2 rounds, and a pretty solid win and overall good performance against Anthony Pettis. Now, Nate does have a huge test in front of him this Saturday, and where I think he'll find the most success is if he takes it to the later rounds. It's been said multiple times, Diaz is a 5-round fighter. When you start to gas, he starts to pick up the pressure, and if there's anything we learned about Khamzat going 3 rounds with Burns, it's that he does start to get tired. Nate may be looking to capitalize for rounds 4 and 5 if it goes that long. Rounds 1 and 2 may or may not be hell for Nate Diaz, but we learned he's a super durable guy, very tough to put away. If he makes it to the later rounds, I say he has a chance, and I think Nate will go the distance with Khamzat. This is one of the toughest guys to put away in the sport, so he's definitely going to have to utilize his cardio advantages later on in this fight. Once he gets there, he's probably going to have to pop that crisp 1-2, adding the pressure on Chimaev, attacking the body. You've seen the way Nate throws punches in bunches. Nate is not necessarily known for his power, so I don't see him cracking him and dropping him like we saw Burns do to Chimaev, but he is more of a volume striker. He might get you up against the cage and unleash nasty combinations going body head, and they may not be hard power punches, but they are constantly coming at you and maybe setting up a big shot at the end of the combination. But we focus a lot on his boxing. His jiu-jitsu should never be slept on as well. He has a nice guillotine. If Chimaev gets tired, he might force a bad shot, and Diaz will be looking for that neck. Now we move on to the young, fast-rising superstar Khamzat Chimaev. Last 3 wins, an absolute war, and a win over Gilbert Burns. Definitely one of the best fights of the year. A first-round submission over Li Jiliang, and a first-round 17-second knockout over Gerald Meerschaert. Khamzat is obviously the bigger man in this fight. This guy could be a middleweight. I definitely see him utilizing his size and strength here, but I also think we'll see a more composed Khamzat, and that brings me to his first key to victory, sticking to his game plan. Now that sounds a bit obvious, but in the last fight with Burns, he got the feel of fighting an elite fighter in his division after so much hype around him. That was his biggest test yet. He chose to brawl it out with him, ignoring his coach's instructions, making for an entertaining fight, but led to some consequences. I definitely see Khamzat sticking to his game plan this time around. He will do whatever he needs to do in order to get the victory. The takedown, I also feel, is inevitable. Chimaev brawling the entire time like he did with Burns is something I don't see happening. Nate is going to have a tough time trying to avoid Chimaev's wrestling, but we can't ignore the absolute power of Khamzat, knocking out Gerald Meerschaert with 1 shot, dropping Burns with a jab in the first round. Will this finally be the time we see the legendary Diaz chin crack? That would be absolutely insane. And imagine you're Khamzat, you are the first ever person to crack one of the most mystical and durable chins in the entire sport. But we are so close to this matchup. Feels good to be in a Nate Diaz fight week again. These only happen like once or twice a year, and if he wins this Saturday, it would be pretty massive. Leaving the UFC after stopping one of their hype trains would just add on to this guy's legacy. But for Khamzat, if he wins, he attracts the eyes of more casual viewers after beating one of the biggest stars in the sport, and most likely gets the winner of the Edwards and Usman trilogy. We are already so close to this matchup. Unfortunately, I do have to cover this professionally, so I cannot say who I personally want to get the victory, but the excitement is really heating up for this one, and may the best man win.
Hey, the grind's on, I'm just trying to get the bands in. Take man, you know we get the hands in. Throw fists and you know that they're landing. We stand out, cause you know we can't stand in. We look good, we ain't ever look stranded. In a cute top down, tunes banging. The YG's outside just standing. Round the corner is a youth trying to bank it. With the